Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the podcast. On this episode, I'm super honored to be joined by the head honchos of 170. On the left, we have James, better known as JTS. On the right, we got Alfie, better known as Technikore. How's the week been, gents? Tell me, James, how's your week been?
I'm not going to lie, a little bit hungover at the moment.
Big night last night.
Oh yeah, a few too many shots on Twitch.
Twitch, that's right, you're streaming now, aren't you?
It's good fun, yeah.
Sick. Did you have any guests on? Was it just you solo?
Nah, just solo last night, yeah. It's good fun for a 3-hour show.
You should be getting used to the Saturday hangovers by now, surely.
I don't think it's something I could ever get used to be honest with you, but no, it's good fun.
Yeah, such is life, it's the party life, hey?
That's it.
I will say, the time that I did go on and as a guest, what was it, a couple of months ago, it took me I think I only just literally recovered from it last week. I don't think I've ever been that hungover in my life as that next day. It was a good 3-day recovery, wasn't it?
I swear, yeah.
And it wasn't.
We
didn't drink that much.
We say that every time I have a guest on. Like we don't feel like we don't drink that much, but it just like the hangovers, it just seems a lot worse.
Dude, I'm only 25, but even then, I can only have 2-3 now. I'm just like I can't party as hard as I used to. So I'm a grandpa on the inside. But tell me about your week, Alfie. What's new? What's going on, man?
I've just been hard at work in the studio. I've been working on a brand new original at the moment, which is always nice because I don't tend to write enough original stuff on my own, it feels like. So when I get stuck into a project, I just get kind of obsessed about it for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I think I've pretty much come to a tail end of it now. So that's been good. So that's been my week, really.
Awesome.
Brady's birthday.
Oh yeah, it was my son's first birthday yesterday as well.
Happy birthday, 1 year, how exciting.
Yeah, it's good.
Does he know how to DJ yet?
He's getting there. So he took his first step yesterday, so he's already walking better than me,
Awesome.
Or James today.
Fair enough. Cool. Now, moving on with the show, I would love to know how you guys came up with the 170 brand. How did you guys first come up with the concept? Did you guys first meet together and you were just like, it clicked? Or tell me, what's the story behind 170?
So it was 10 years ago actually this year. I did an event called 170 with 2 other mates. It started as an event 10 years ago. We just did the one-off. Alf was living in the UK at the time. He didn't come over for the event. He was over here on a holiday and we, booked him as a headline act.
Was it the first event I played for? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What venue was that at?
At the Burdekin on Oxford Street.
That's right, yeah, I remember the event really well.
Yeah, so that was the first one. And then I didn't do another event for about 2 years after that. And then it became a regular event. We do it every couple of months. And did that for, how long has the label been going for now? 3 years?
No, 5 years.
5 years.
We set it up as soon as I moved here.
Yeah, I ran the event for 3 years, and then Alf moved over, and then I always had, well, not always, but I thought about running a label as using the 170 name. But when I never mentioned it to Alf, and then when he moved over as well, he's like, what?
Well, we were both on the same page, really, weren't we? Because I'd moved over, and we were both really in sync with what we wanted our hardcore music to sound like. But the thing is we weren't really affiliated with any gang yet. Like, you had the guys, Styles, Gamma, Breeze, they all had their Together We Rise thing. And we weren't really a part of that, but that was the kind of style we wanted to do. And we were being influenced a lot by the hardstyle stuff. And we kind of needed somewhere to put our music out, didn't we? And I think 170, the label, was more of it was like a solution to our problem at the time. It was just somewhere to put our music out.
Well, you still had Supersonic.
I still had my own label.
And I still had JTS Recordings at the time.
But we just
both
sort of
scrapped
naturally,
that.
well, they just phased out naturally, didn't they, I guess? Like, everything just, as soon as we started the 170 label, I think our efforts just were so focused on that.
So that's where it started.
Yeah. So you guys figured it'd be better to join forces, put all your eggs together, and
I think that was always going to happen, wasn't it? When I moved over, I mean, James and I have been, really, really close friends since we were 18.
Cool.
Yeah. So James lived in England for a while, didn't you?
Did.
I mean, long story is my wife and James knew each other when they were young teens.
Yeah.
You used to go raving together
16,
and stuff.
Yeah.
And me and Ames, my wife, got together, and when we came over for holidays, that was the first time we came over. I met James, our friend, and we ended up moving. You ended up moving in with us when you came over, didn't you? For what? How long? Like 4 or 5 years? Well, it wasn't that long, was it? 3 years?
I lived over for 3 and a half.
We had a big party. We had a big party.
I was going to say there's more of the story to it, but it's a bit
You got this
R-rated.
look like, why do you bring that up?
It
No, not at all.
It doesn't need to be R-rated. All you need to know is we had a big party,
Yeah.
and we all got on really well as good friends, and we just, you know, when you come up with those great ideas when you're inebriated, and it's let's all move in together. Anyway, it sort of ended up happening. That sort of stuff never happens, does it? When do you follow through on your
6 months
on
later
your drunk
it was.
promises?
6 months later, Alf was over here touring a hard dance, and 6 months later, I moved over there, and yeah.
Well, I mean, you didn't have anywhere else to go, did you? When you come over, so you had to come in.
That's it.
Wow.
He's like, he gives us a call when he's at Heathrow. I'm here. Oh fuck! Yeah, I remember. That's right.
Cool.
Good times.
It was good times, yeah.
So let's touch on a bit about the hardcore sound at the time as well. Tell me, these days, would you say that UK hardcore and happy hardcore has taken a lot of external influences, especially from hardstyle and raw these days?
100%.
Tell me, James. Yeah. Especially your latest release. Sorry, what was the title of that one again?
Nothing left.
That's
That's
really cool
definitely
hybrid.
not really UK hardcore, that one. But yeah. Yeah, 100% takes influences. You can hear it, you know, with the lead sounds and stuff. And
Well,
but
I remember when I used to come over, and when I was coming over for the holidays before I was living here, and would play UK hardcore, how it kind of sounded like 10 years ago, like the Twister, Squaddy, Recon kind of sound, and it was almost like a lot of the Australian crowd didn't really get it. I mean, you had your diehards that were really into it, but it wasn't really palatable because everybody was so used to the hardstyle thing. And I think it was that TWR sound, wasn't it, that started bringing in. It wasn't quite as hardstyle as it's got now,
No.
but it was it was enough, I think, to become palatable for a lot of the crowd. And then I think obviously
Evolved from that.
It does evolve, doesn't it? I mean, we didn't necessarily set out to make hardcore sounding like hardstyle, but when you live somewhere, it's the same as anything. You kind of
adapt to it.
Yeah, that's it. It's like anything you adapt, and obviously we're hearing a lot of hardstyle, like going to massive places, and you hear things that's that's cool, and without knowing it, you kind of start integrating it into your own sound. And also UK hardcore, happy hardcore, it's always been like a bit of a chameleon genre. It sort of hears what else is popular and
Big at
takes
the time,
things in.
The
'cause I mean,
electro stage,
even like
trance stage.
this is the thing, like the Raver Baby stuff, it was off the back of, we were listening to that podcast the other day, and they were saying it was from listening to trance that made hardcore go down that direction. And that's what most people think of hardcore as now.
Dubstep
Yeah,
type era.
dubcore. That's the thing,
There's
so it's always happened.
something, yeah.
So back when you guys first started 170, tell me, what was the sound like back then?
It was just evolving into that hard styley sound.
Yeah, it's funny when
It's a very melodic, maybe a lot of piano riffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's really changed much. I mean, obviously you get, your harder edge stuff like my latest release, but, the traditional sort of happy hardcore sounding stuff's always going to have the pianos.
Yeah.
There's not really many tracks that doesn't have a piano, really.
I know, every time I load up a piano, I'm like, here we go again. Yeah. And then you try and do something else, and it's like, you get to the end of the session, you've spent 4 days on it, and it's like, I may as well just put that piano back and finish it off.
But it was definitely the beginning of that.
It's interesting when you listen to those first
Gridlock.
like 10, but like
Or
the
even
first
before
10
that.
before then, the first 10 releases on the label, you listen to them, and we hadn't quite got to grips with the sound yet, had we? I think we didn't really know. Well, I mean, I think we knew what we wanted to do, but we couldn't quite pull it off yet.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, it was a weird time, that point, because you had sort of like, it was just sort of going into the hardstyle sound with the leads and things.
Yeah.
But then it was also like, you had Breeze playing the
dubby sort of stuff, yeah, it was the
at
tail
the
end of
time,
that.
and then people were still sort of doing that as well. So some of the tracks we were doing had that influence in it. Then it was sort of influenced by the sort of, Darren Styles stuff with the
It was quite a direction.
pitchy leads.
It was quite a directionless time for the music. I think. I don't think it knew where it was going. I think it was actually overall quite a weak time. I think that was where the scene did drop off a little bit around that time, didn't it? And I think it has picked back up again.
It's got its phases, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see a very different perspective here, I think, about UK hardcore, happy hard, to what I think the UK guys do, because
100%.
we're seeing like a very I mean, we're seeing it through the lens of like the hardstyle crowd, aren't we? I guess, but it is interesting. It is interesting. I asked that the other day. What's the difference between the scenes in the UK and Australia? And to be honest, I couldn't tell you what the scene's like in the UK now. I've been gone for 5 years, and I don't think it's anything like it was when I left. I pop back for like, once a year for a few gigs, but it's not enough to really...
It's completely different though, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Like...
I've heard they're not too big on the raw sound maybe over in the UK.
It's not really a hardstyle crowd. It's not...
Okay.
The hardstyle has never really taken off in the UK.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
thing.
That's
I mean,
pretty interesting.
there's a big event called Bionic that was the biggest attempt at it, and that was a Welsh event, and they used to do okay, but I mean they've stopped as an event now. There isn't really anyone flying the hardstyle flag other than Kutski, and and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think most of his works, well, not at the moment obviously, but most of his work was international. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of the UK crowd aren't quite so into this new hardstyle sounding hardcore, and a lot of them are asking for the traditional sound to come back. Which I think obviously we're getting more.
We're trying to do as well.
I mean, we've got a bit bored, haven't we, of what we've been doing for the past year? It feels like we're sort of treading the same water.
Sort of going back to the step melodies a little bit.
Yeah, and we're going to actually try and make some music at 170 again.
Fair enough, cool. With the label, do you find that half your demographic is from the UK? Or tell me, where do you find your strongest fan base is? Or maybe like the top 2-3 countries or so?
Do you look at the stats on that? Have you looked recently?
Germany's
Germany's
quite high.
Yeah, right.
It depends on the track.
Just going by like Spotify sort of stats.
Yeah,
but it does depend on the track.
Like my 4am track gets most of its streams from Germany.
Yeah, cool.
But then, for instance,
Well, what
the
about
remix
TikTok though? That's on 170.
I've not looked at that actually, but I mean with the other flip on the remix I did for Ben Nicky, that gets most of its plays from Scotland. So
yeah, but then tracks aren't on 170 though, are they? But it doesn't really make a difference too much, does it? On Spotify, it just depends on the followers you have and stuff.
Well, you keep looking and I'll look it up.
I'll keep looking and you look it up.
No, sorry, you keep talking and I'll look it up.
That's all right. Well, you know what? Let's start off with some questions. I'll send the first one to you,
Sure.
James. This first one comes from Crystal, and she would like to know, when will 170 be back? And I'm assuming that's the event, so...
Yeah.
Any
the
hints?
famous question, when will it be back? I mean, when do we know anything will be back to normal at the moment?
True.
So it's hard, I don't think... I mean, I know personally, I think Alf sort of brought it up a couple of times, but I'm not really that interested in doing these sort of sit-down parties. Like, I've heard that they're going well and stuff, but...
You don't want to do half steps, do you?
No, yeah, I'd rather just come back and when things are like back to normal, or at least we can, at least have 100 people dancing or something like that, where we can do a 100-person party or something like that. I don't know. Just bit more normality, I suppose. Before
It shouldn't be too long, should it?
No,
it shouldn't be too long.
yeah,
We've waited this
I
long.
reckon at least, yeah, exactly. But who knows? Anyway, things it's changing daily, aren't they, with everything? So.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think on Monday, a law's being lifted about dance restrictions.
Yeah. So
that'd be great.
50 people can dance, but then then the rest have to be seated inside.
Okay.
So
It's so volatile though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that got announced, and the next day there's a case that we can't link, and then suddenly it's up in the air whether the restrictions.
Oh, really? What in New South Wales?
Yeah, it's going to be fine apparently, but this is what James was talking about. Everything's so unpredictable; it can change on a day-to-day basis. So
before you know, our borders closed again.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
look,
it.
if everything somehow magically comes back to normality by the new year, we do have the 9th of January penciled in for a boat party. I highly doubt that's going to happen. We haven't organised anything, but we just penciled that date
Stranger
in for the
things
usual
happen.
date that we do our boat parties. So,
And you can rest assured that there is no one that wants to do a party sooner than James and I do. So it's not like we're sitting here, just sitting on our hands going. It's
Just waiting for the
we're
right
keen.
time.
It's just got to be right,
Oh, fair enough. The label, how are the releases going? Tell us, have you guys got any big names coming in?
Actually,
What's the release schedule like as well?
So the label, it's been our sort of, it's been our baby really, hasn't it? Since all the events have been down, it's. We're super proud of what we've done with the label. It's become a bit of a showcase, and we've got some absolutely fantastic artists now which are part of it. It originally, just as I said earlier, it just started off as somewhere for us to release our music, didn't it? And it's just organically grown into, we've got like a 17 strong team roster, and we've got a WhatsApp group where we're all chatting all the time, and it's good. We've got real community kind of going between us all.
Awesome.
some very chatty characters, aren't we?
Is the 170 label, do your artists comprise of people from all across the globe, or
Yes.
are you mostly, yeah?
Absolutely. And the thing is the doors are always open. We sign tracks, when we get sent a lot of demos, and we try to check all of them out. And our most recent sort of addition to the team, I say addition, it's not like we've signed anyone, but like part of the crew is a fella from Sweden called Quick Drop.
Cool.
He's had a lot of releases out on big, it's like a kind of, are they Swedish Bionic Bear? It's like a sort of European UK hardcore label. His production is just up there. He sort of reminds me of he's like a sort of halfway sound between Tweakercore and Stonebank, I guess.
Sick.
And
Yeah, it's a bit melodic, bit party and whatnot. Yeah.
And he's got that consistency, hasn't he, where you just know when he sends you something it's going to be good.
Yeah, 100%.
He's just done a remix of my TikTok track, and because we've just for the label for the new year, we're doing a 170 remix series where we've asked everybody on the team to pick your favourite track from the back catalogue and do a remix of it.
Oh,
and
sick.
Everyone's come up with, we've got a really exciting first start of the year for releases. In fact, we've got so much music lined up that our release schedule was busy, completely full up till, was it June?
Oh, far out.
And we realised something's got to change because we release bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks we were releasing a track. And we realised, hang on a minute, if we keep this up, if someone finishes something next week and sends it to us, if we can't give them a release date until 8 months' time, it's not going to be good for anyone. So we've actually made the decision, we pulled the trigger, didn't we, to go weekly. So from the new year, there's going to be a new release every week, which is going to obviously break up the artists and make sure everybody gets a go at it. So we've got releases all the way up to April, which is great, including all these remixes which are coming in one by one at the moment.
Cool. So you're going to do the remixes one by one, not like a compilation or an album?
Yeah, they're all so good. The ones we've got back, they deserve a release.
Yeah, just their own spotlight and whatnot.
Those things will get lost, tracks will get lost if it's one release or an EP or something like that. Has to be a big EP as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I think the problem with EPs is people just gravitate to the one track. You put 4 tracks on an EP and people pick one that they like and that's the one they listen to. Yeah. Whereas if you break them up as individual releases and spread it across a month, it's better for everyone, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion point because it's almost like albums struggle in a sense these days. I don't know if it's just people's attention span or what, but people seem to lean more towards those single individual releases and whatnot.
I think people are less inclined to sign new music to albums now for that reason as well. I mean, if I've finished a new track, the last thing I want to do is put it on an album and then spoil the single release. I think albums these days only really kind of exist when it's made up from material or old material. I mean, that's what we do, don't we? At the end of every year, we do like a compilation of the year's releases.
Saying that though, I do love a good album. Like I listen to a lot of drum and bass, and listening to Netsky's album, like I just have that on repeat while I'm driving. I love an album.
Would you ever do an album, man?
Would I do one?
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't do one.
We sort of did a couple, didn't we? Like that was our old strategy. Like when we early days of 170s, we'd get together for like, I think this was back in the day when we could bang out 15 tracks in 4 weeks. Do you remember?
It was before you had kids.
That's probably why. Yeah, but that's what we used to do. So we'd get together, we'd write sort of 15, 16 tracks. We'd put them into a mix album, give the album away, and then release the singles one by one, so people would already know the tracks before they came out. Whereas we've kind of gone the other way. We flipped it and gone backwards now. I think a single release seems to have a lot more excitement when people haven't heard it yet. And that's why we sort of tell a lot of our artists they're wanting to play their tracks that aren't coming out for another 3 months. It's like, if you can just hold back just a little bit until they're, it's close to release. Because I think music's so disposable now. If people can hear it in a mix and, they can stream it over and over again, by the time it comes out in 3 months' time, you've killed your spot.
Yeah, it becomes old news pretty quickly. Hey, and I feel like tracks are even getting shorter than what they used to. Like, a lot of our hard dance, used to be 5-6 minutes, and then a new one's 2-3 minutes or something like that.
Your extended mix was, what was it, 2 minutes 50, and we were like, fuck, we got to make a radio edit out of this.
Let's talk about collaborations and whatnot. You guys personally, and also for the label, tell us any plans for collabs coming up.
Coming out of 170, we just did a collab, actually, me and Alf and I, with Ben Nicky. So he used to play our track Yeet a lot over the past year or so, or couple of years.
Started talking to him, wasn't it?
Yeah, someone sent me a video, of him playing Yeet at a big festival, and I contacted him, and then that's how we initially started chatting to him. Obviously, Alf's worked with him a bit since then. Anyway, he had a cool idea for doing a
re-rub, wasn't it?
Yeah, re-rub. So we're working. We just finished it actually. Yeet 2.0. Jts Technikore JTS. Yeet 2.0. So yeah, it's exciting. That's not coming out till April.
April Fool's Day.
Is it?
It's like from April
that's
Fool's
good.
Day,
I like
yeah.
that. I didn't even realise that.
See, I thought we've announced it now, so we've spoiled it. But I thought a really good thing would have been to have done saying that we've done a collab with Ben Nicky and it's come out on 170 on April Fool's Day, and people would have thought, it's just a load of rubbish, and then it would have actually come out. See that?
That's the joke. It actually did happen.
You know,
you heard it here first.
But yeah, that's been ruined now. We may as well bring it out earlier now.
Yeah. But it's a really fun track. It's
wacky, isn't it?
Yeah, all over the place. Typical sort of Ben Nicky sounds in there as well, and
rolling bass, side bass, maybe.
There's a bit of that.
Exactly.
There's a bit of that.
Yeah. Couple of donks.
It's funny. I played it to Ben Firelight last week, and obviously for us, it's like it switches up quite a lot with the kicks and bass, and I was like, it's a real switch up track, and listen to it, and from Ben's perspective, he's like, that's not switch up, mate. He's like, I would have had 16 kicks in there by that point. It's like, yeah.
It gets like that these days. Like, the kick changes are the new cool thing, and it's funny how, like, people are trying to incorporate that, like, beyond Raw now, whereas I think the Raw guys are what brought that into the,
Listen, you're speaking to UK hardcore guys who have used the same kick for 5 years across about 300 tracks. If we haven't changed that kick across 300 tracks, you ain't getting more than one in one track.
Darren Styles 909, like...
Darren Styles kick.
I mean,
it is actually, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a modified version.
Someone asked me the other day, messaged my account. They're like, how do you make a kick? And then like I saw it and I didn't really, just like I remember reply. Then he messaged me on Instagram. Then he messaged me and I'm like, so I messaged him. I was like, well, I actually haven't ever made a kick before. And I'm like,
What was your answer to him? It was someone gets given it from Darren Styles.
Yeah, gets past the line until Alf gets it, then sends it to me.
So hand me down.
Yeah, that's how we make kicks.
By the time we get it, they're using something new.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
We always have something exciting to look forward to.
Yeah, that's very true.
Fair enough. Touching back on the label, now, do you guys have any advice for new and upcoming labels? Or what would you think is really essential these days for a label that's starting out to just gain momentum, gain attraction? I've noticed with me personally, it's a bit hard to just start off with that initial exposure. And sometimes I find that you're better off doing some free tracks to get that exposure rather than just putting your track straight up on Beatport and hoping they buy. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think it's just about the quality of music you're
releasing.
At the end of the day, it's like your label's just pushing that, but it's got to be quality. If it's not quality, people are going to see your label in the future and be,
I think there's a lot of pressure people put on themselves when they start a label, especially to like keep up to some kind of release frequency that they've set themselves, and it's like, what's the point of putting out 4 tracks every 2 months if only if you're signing 3 mediocre ones for the sake of signing
just
something,
for doing it, yeah.
Like then there has to be a quality control. Now it is difficult at the start because you haven't got a roster of artists to be able to call upon. You haven't got the luxury problem that we had of having too much music to release at the time. It's not a bad problem to have at all, but that's I think that is the most important thing. It's being able to listen to something and be able to identify things that the producer may not have seen and be able to go back to them. And I mean, I hate doing it sometimes. You feel like you're being a right pedantic, fussy, bastard. But the amount of times we'll be sent something that's almost perfect, and it'll be one tiny little tweak that will just get it across the line. If you can get an extra 2% out of a track, then
5%.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it is. That's the job of an A&R guy, someone that's running a label and making those calls. And I think a lot of people that are running labels don't maybe have the ear to hear those things, and it's something that develops over time. The same way many people that start producing, it's the common trick when people start producing. The trap is that you think everything that you make sounds great because you haven't developed your ear yet, and it's only when you listen back in 3 years' time and you go, oh, fucking hell. And that's the same for labels as well. So it's something that just comes over time. I mean, I think it's always nice to start a label when you've got a little bit of experience behind you from running one previously. I mean, we both had that before, didn't we? From yourself running yours and me running Supersonic, and it wasn't like we started 170 and that was the starting point.
Beginning,
so you got to make a lot of mistakes to get it right, you know, and we make plenty of mistakes all the time. It's you know, everybody does. So it's by no means experts in the field, but definitely I think quality control is a very important aspect of it.
Awesome. Cool advice. Now, release schedule and social media. You guys find that it's super duper important to be frequent on social media with the label and the release schedule, or do you guys feel someone that maybe paces out releases maybe once a month could do just as well as someone who's doing a track every week?
I mean, frequency is you're going to get obviously more exposure and you're going to get more views just by the nature of the fact that you're doing more of it. But are you doing more good? That's the thing, I guess.
Yeah. So you'd rather stick with maybe the quality, maybe limit the release schedule.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we've even said if we get to a point after going weekly, I mean it suits the schedule at the moment. But if we get to say May and it's slowed down and we have to go back down to 2 weeks, then by all means you don't need to sit there and go, oh, you know, we haven't got a track for next week.
Be desperate, look for something.
Yeah.
Worst case, go monthly or whatever.
Yeah. That's it. I don't think that's ever going to happen
No,
again,
it's not. But I mean, like, for other,
what you're saying, yeah, for sure. I think it's just about making sure that the consistency's there. More consistency with quality, not consistency with, you know, regularity, I guess.
And are you guys pushing Instagram, Facebook, all of them, or do you guys...
You do Insta, don't you? Sure.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I look after our Instagram account and do sponsored posts, mainly stories. I find stories work rather than the actual post in the feed.
Do you find people engage a lot more with the stories and maybe comment, or...?
Not so much, but I just see the numbers on Spotify increase when there is a story.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet.
There's so much data now, isn't there? You can sort of you can actually see where you can see where's effective and it's so rather than having to blindly spend money on adverts.
It's also quality control over your artwork and the videos and having the correct. And this has been we've progressed to this, but our assets folder now for each release is like all different videos, different sizing, the right sizes, and it looks all professional and stuff.
I can't believe we've come this far and not mentioned the artwork. I think the artworks are huge. But my brother Toby, he's our artwork designer, and we've got to the point where obviously anyone that follows our label will know that every label has its own design. Every release has its own custom design, and it's my brother's pretty shit hot on the graphic design side of things, and it's quite a hype, isn't it? Whenever we get new art, we post it in the group, and everyone's
and since the first event flyer actually wasn't done by Tobes, but he's been doing the artwork for us for 8 years. So he's been there from the start doing the art. And you can see in the flyers him getting better and better, and to the point he is now. And you look at the first flyer. To me, it's like
even the art on the label as well, from the first release through to the new ones.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's. I think the thing with having like custom art for each rather than using a template is each release becomes an event. It's got its own identity. That's the thing, and I think that the artists are much more inclined to get behind a release when it's not just a template with a different colour. It works, and to be honest, a lot of people won't even see the artwork. But I mean, it just means a lot. I think that
adds a bit of something, doesn't it? And you can do more with the videos and things, and just looks cool. When you back to your question, with Instagram and doing Facebook adverts and stuff, that we found with Facebook adverts haven't been doing.
No, it's not.
It's very hard. We don't know. We don't like. It gets a lot of likes, but then you look at the numbers. That are.
Well, I find it really strange sometimes because we'll put something on Facebook, we'll boost it, and we'll spend X amount of money on it, and you've got 500 likes. But no comments, and it's like surely out of 500 people that have liked it, you'd think there'd be a comment. So it makes me think that Facebook's maybe
bots or something, or fake
potentially,
accounts.
I mean,
I've thought about that too.
It does seem odd considering you can do a post on your normal profile that only gets you 20 likes and you've got 20 comments. It's strange. It's not. It's a funny one. It is a funny one.
I've noticed the groups. I feel like groups are a great way to get reach, whatnot. I don't know.
Like the appreciation group.
Yeah, but I feel like the Facebook algorithm seems to prioritize groups a little bit more, but it's always changing and whatnot.
It's a whole science studying all that, though, isn't it? That's it.
Absolutely. You could do a whole marketing course, a degree on it, eh? And still you have no clue because they could just
That's
change
exactly
it for like
right.
a month or two time. Yeah. It really does feel like they're trying to get all the artists to push for that extra, the paid for post, the sponsored post.
Yeah.
You guys do it often, or I do it a fair bit myself.
Yeah.
Every release, we pay to boost it. You have to.
Facebook and Instagram. Instagram stories.
Otherwise, no one knows about it. What's the point of releasing music that you believe in if you can't get it into people's, faces? It's this is the thing. Unfortunately, you'd like to think good music speaks for itself, but in today's place, it doesn't. It doesn't. Unfortunately, you can be the best producer in the world, have the best release in the world, but if no one knows about it, then who's going to hear it?
Very true. Yeah. Are you guys doing YouTube as well?
A little bit, yeah.
Post the videos on there, the release videos on YouTube. We do have a account.
It is growing, actually. I noticed there we got over 2,000 subs
we're
on
not
there,
pushing
but
it at all.
No.
It's just happening naturally.
We're not like Dirty Works level with that yet, are we? But,
No.
it's, the thing is, there's only two of us. This is the thing. And you look at some of these big outfits like Dirty Works, they've got a whole team behind them, and it's just me and James. And
It'd be nice to take it to that level, but
it would be lovely. It would be nice, but I think we might need more than me and you to do that. Someone with a brain.
Would you guys ever expand or look into hiring a team and whatnot, or do you guys think keeping it more closely is the way to go?
James and I work well together. I think that's pretty much, we haven't ever spoke about it, have we? I don't think.
I mean, if the opportunity was there that we could do it, I wouldn't say no, but that's just something we haven't really spoken about. And I guess it all comes down to how much music we have. And then, Dirty Works are releasing, I notice, like a track nearly every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if UK
that's a busy schedule.
Yeah, and I don't know if UK hardcore has the reach, I
just don't think there's enough people to listen to it, really.
No.
At the moment. I mean, it's hopefully we're getting
maybe
there
could
slowly.
be wrong, but
It's all baby steps at the moment, but certainly not thinking about expanding at the moment. We just we're pretty comfortable, aren't we, with the workload and everything's being managed quite nicely.
Yeah,
at the moment.
it's slowly expanding naturally anyway,
that's
isn't it?
it.
Like,
Sweet, so it's going great then.
Yeah, we're pretty happy right now. We're very, very, very proud about what the label's going to do next year, and hopefully excited about what the events can bring next year once the world allows it to happen.
Yeah. Awesome, great. Now, wrapping up the show, I like to give all my guests the opportunity to let everyone know what to look forward to, what to expect from you guys. Tell us, is there anything that's coming out from you guys individually, that certain date that you want the crowds to keep in mind? Tell us.
We've got our first back-to-back, haven't we, next week for the first time at the Massive Sit-Down Show, which is probably worth giving a little plug, even though this week coming out after that. But we did it, and it was wicked.
everyone sat down.
Yeah, I don't know. We've pretty much plugged most stuff, haven't we? I think. But I mean, if you've got anything,
well, we're working on a new collab at the moment. There's no set date.
Oh yeah, we are.
We just sent it off to the vocalist. I've just finished.
We can tell him who the vocalist is, can't we? It's we can tell him.
Yeah.
It's a classic vocalist from hardcore, happy hardcore back in the day. I say classic. She's done like loads of big tracks. A couple with Scott Brown and Doodle Gum. Her name's Nikki Mack, so hoping that she's going to bring some of that classic hardcore flavour that me and James have been so sorely missing over the last year. So it actually sounds like happy hardcore, doesn't it? Happy hardcore. God, I hate it. That sounds like UK hardcore, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's getting there.
Old style, not old style, but the step melody sort of.
Yeah.
It sounds good. I finished my remix of Turn Down the Lights.
Turn on the light.
Turn on the lights.
Like the opposite.
Turn down the lights. I can never remember the names of the tracks that I work on. I
think it's
I'm surprised I remembered Nothing Left when you asked me at the start of the show.
Well, that changed its name, didn't it?
Well,
I think also, just to correct you, I think it is Turn on the Light. It's a solo light.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a solitary light rather than like multiple light system.
All right, well, there you go.
That solves that problem. And would you guys like to give any shout-outs to anyone?
Shout out to the 170 crew. Shout out to the Smashing
There
crew
you
from
go.
Twitch. I love you all. It's been a journey, that's for sure. And yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone from Alf and myself.
Yeah,
the 170 crew.
Very true. Thanks for being on the show, guys. So that's James JTS, Jts Technikore. Look forward to the releases on the 170 label and more to come from them individually. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers.